Berserk is finally getting a new game with Berserk and the Band of the Hawk, and it's been a while since we've seen one. So how does it stack up with the great Berserk manga? Well, I guess we shall find out soon. Berserk and the Band of the Hawk lets you play through the story of Guts, who's the main character of Berserk. You play through the first 4 arcs of the Berserk storyline: the Golden Age, the Black Swordsman, the Conviction, and the Hawk of the Millennium Empire arc. And each arc will contain battles in them and fights that follows the events of the manga. Through most of the stages, you will usually take control of Guts, but once in a while you'll get a chance to play another character like Casca or Serpico in those stages. Most of the stages can become a little bit samey, because most of the time all you do is kill a certain amount of enemies or kill a leader to proceed the story. It really gets monotonous after a while of playing, since mostly the first part of the game really looks like a Dynasty Warriors game, and you pretty much rinse and repeat the same task. The story is told through a few different mediums. You have the in-game cutscene that uses the character models from the game, and they also have their own CGI cutscenes, and they also have used cutscenes from the 3 Berserk movies, while smaller dialogue is told through dialogue bubbles through the menu. I only wish they kept it more of consistent, since the swap between movie CGI and in-game CGI can be a little bit off-putting. Also, some of the movie CGI can take up to 5 or plus minutes to watch. Talking about stages, before heading out to the battlefield, you're given a chance to prepare characters before battle. You can choose a character's sub-weapon. Your sub-weapons are kind of like characters' a little bit of special attacks, so they use like Guts' cannon arm shot or Zod's beast roar. You can also equip certain items like healing items and items that gives your character a certain type of stat buff. And lastly, equipments that you can equip and horses that you can take to the battlefield. You will also have a chance to go to the shop and buy new equipments, enhance an equipment, and amalgamate an equipment. Enhancing an equipment will increase its base stats, while amalgamating an equipment lets you fuse multiple equipments into one, increasing its stats and rolling over different scales from those equipments. Berserk and the Band of the Hawks is a Musou game, so it's similar to a Dynasty Warriors game from the map layout to the action. Each character has a basic, medium attack, and heavy attack. You can chain combos by hitting the medium attack and ending with a heavy attack. As you level up, the characters will get more attacks to use and can be used for a longer combo strain. While each character also has a special power called the Frenzy mode. Once the Frenzy bar is filled, hit it to activate it. When this happens, your character will have a boost in speed and strength. And when killing an enemy in Frenzy mode, you will get an orb that fills up your death blow gauge. When that happens, you will have to hit R1 and do a devastating attack. Unfortunately, pretty much all of the characters have the same combos, and the only thing that differentiates themselves from each other is the weapons they use. Also, the enemy variety suffers a bit too. You'll be fighting the same enemies over and over again, but on the other hand, boss fights are pretty intense, mostly later in the game when you actually fight some bigger demons. And you actually have to learn their attack patterns so you can dodge and avoid attacks. But the big but here is the camera is pretty bad. Sometimes when they knock you back into a wall, the camera gets stuck in a wall and you are pretty much stuck being attacked in a corner. It can get a little bit frustrating when that happens. Upon beating the stage, you will get money and equipment as rewards. Some stages will also give you a behili, which is used to getting a portrait. I personally found it useless since it doesn't give you anything usable, and I found myself just skipping them. There is also a free mode that lets you play all of the stages from a story mode with any character that you like. But here is the big problem with the game. There's only 7 characters you can choose from. Berserk has a big cast of characters, but it's weird that they decided to only let you play the 7 characters and not characters like the Skull Knight, Silent, and the rest of the cast of the Band of the Hawks. Heck, you don't even get to play as Isidro and Finesse. It really doesn't make any sense to me that they left out those characters. On a high note, I do love the evolution of Guts in the game. You start out with a young Guts who's smaller with a smaller combo attack, and then at the end, you end up with Guts with the Berserker armor who can pretty much rip everything to shreds. The last mode is the Endless Eclipse mode, which is personally my favorite mode. What you do in the mode is go through different floors of the eclipse while doing different quests from different NPCs. Each quest usually consists of about 5 floors and usually take around 10 to 15 minutes to complete. I also love that the stages are smaller and shorter, so it's quick to complete. There's also a overwhelming amount of enemies on the field, which is perfect, but it does bog down the frame rate when they start showing up. Each character will have to clear their own set of floors and gain items from doing them. My only problem is that you can't quit halfway through because you will lose the progression and will have to start over from the first floor. So you really have to cut out a portion of your time to try and finish the 100 floors of each character. Graphically, the game looks pretty bad. The main cast of characters looks pretty decent, but the enemies just looks plain horrible. Some of the fodder enemies look super fuzzy, while some of the environments looks very low resolution. One thing I could point out that the characters do become wet when it rains, so I guess that's a plus. Now the frame rate does hold up most of the time, but when enemies starts to come in waves, the frame rate does take a big hit. This seems to happen more often in endless mode, which the maps are smaller and they cramp a whole bunch of enemies into one map. To me, Berserk, the Band of the Hawks, has a lot of flaws. From its limited content to its hideous looking game, the game also felt like a chore to play since a lot of the stages were a little bit samey. It felt like the game was pretty much rushed to meet a deadline. Hopefully, if it does get a sequel, they can build up from what they have now. So, if I have to give the game a number, I personally will give it a 6 out of 10. The game is super flawed with a lot of flaws and just a few high points. I personally cannot recommend the game to anyone at this price point at about $59.99. So I would probably wait for a price cut before I actually buy the game. Well, hopefully everybody enjoyed my review for Berserk and the Band of the Hawks. Don't forget to drop a like if you guys liked the video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is Omega Belmonk signing off for today. Peace out.